My mic is a little bit extra today. But welcome to Goddess Talk. This is Balaji. We have a great guest in the house today, Dr. Kentea Beeler.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing, Dr. Beeler?
I'm great.
All right, Dr. Beeler, you own the Balance Accounting Group.
Yes, we call it the bag.
The bag. Oh,
yes.
Guess what?
Balanced Accounting Group.
I just started a company called Bag.
Okay.
Actually, so it's with a different. I'm gonna let you know later, but
Okay.
it's about investments and stuff. So we both get in the bag.
Yes.
That's what's up. So, welcome, Dr. Beeler.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm fabulous. Anytime that I can share knowledge,
Mhm.
I love it.
Okay. Hey, so let's start with giving our audience a little background about you. So I already read your bio, but if you could tell them a little bit about just your upbringing, because you are from St. Pete.
I am.
And I always love when people from St. Pete come across a little bit and talk to us. So tell us a little bit about your history, like just who you are, just St. Pete. What's good?
Okay. I am a native of St. Petersburg, Florida. We say the bird. No matter where I go, I don't say Tampa Bay. I say I'm from St. Pete.
Hey.
I grew up in St. Petersburg, went to high school at St. Pete High, and pretty much was involved in the community, whether it was through Alpha Leadership or just participating in basic activities. So I'm come from a single parent home. So my mom was a hard worker. She worked at Histotech and a lab technician. And just humble beginnings. I did have a good relationship with my father as well. So I'm just a native of St. Petersburg. And actually in high school, I had a teacher named Ms. Royak.
Yeah.
And before I used to want to be a statistician.
Okay.
And we went on a field trip to NASA. And I was like, oh, this is boring. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So she said, Kentea, have you ever thought about being an accountant? And so we had OJT, which was on a job training, and we kind of joined that program. And she gave me an audit kit. And we had like this makeup company, and we had to go in and look for fraudulent activities and all these different things. And that piqued my interest.
Oh, because you like spy stuff.
Yes, I like numbers, but I need to see what you're doing. Okay. So that is what started me. And so I became a member of the National Association of Black Accountants at USF. I was kind of like their junior mascot, kind of. They let me kind of sit in on some things. And it was at that point that I knew I no longer wanted to be a statistician. I wanted to be an accountant.
Okay. And that was it. So how old were you when your teacher, what was her name again?
Ms. Royak.
Ms. Royak. How old were you when she really helped you, I guess, hone in on your own craft? How old were you?
About 15 years old.
15.
Yes.
Okay. So having great teachers you feel like she was a great teacher for you?
I did. Okay. I think she saw my interest in numbers,
and then she really
once I went to NASA, she saw that I was disappointed because I thought I wanted to be a statistician. Okay, and then
you had that in your mind.
Listen, I have another idea for you, little lady. And so that is what piqued my interest.
Okay, shout out to the educators, because that's a big thing. We want to clap it up for the educators, okay? Because the educators who really see something in us, and you know what? It's like, let me help guide her. I really appreciate that. So from there, you were 15. You actually started doing OJT. NASA didn't work out, but it was a great field trip, I'm sure.
Yes.
But now just go a little bit. So you graduated from high school and you went to USF, or where did you go?
Oh no.
Oh, she said, oh no. I did that on purpose, though.
I went to the highest.
I did this on purpose.
The highest of Seven Hills, the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, in the Tallahassee, Florida.
AKA what?
Fam, you.
I did that on purpose, because she really be on Facebook talking about, fellow Rattler here.
Yes. And a graduate of the School of Business and Industry. Okay. And at that time, I was under the leadership of President Frederick Humphreys. And for the School of Business, the dean was Miss Sybil Mobley, Dean Sybil Mobley. Okay,
the Sybil. Okay.
Yes. So,
I love this.
We come from good stock. It's good stock out of St. Pete.
She is the funniest person on Facebook, because she'll put Angela Bassett. This is some good stock coming out of St. Pete, or somebody else. Who was it? Not Lee Dent. Who's the actress? Will Packer. She good stock coming out of St. Pete. I really laugh when I see
Charles Jenkins. in Chicago.
She gonna drop names on you.
Yes, we're gonna do all of those different things.
She's a rattler, correct? That's what y'all call yourselves, right?
Say it again. No.
Oh, she gonna Google him when she get home.
Okay. Yes.
But all right, so you are FAMU. So tell us how it was going to a historically Black college or HBCU.
Okay. So the most euphoric experience ever.
Oh,
so
euphoria here.
Yes,
okay,
I'm coming from St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And I said I was like a mascot at USF for NABA. So we are truly minorities because of the busing and everything in St. Petersburg. So I was exposed to FAMU because my cousin's coach, Freddie Dowd, was a big coach in St. Petersburg at Gibbs, and he was a big advocate of me going to Florida A&M. But you know, my cousins before that went, so I was always exposed through homecoming and things like that. So I knew there was only one school I was applying to.
So that was the only one you applied to? That's the only one
I applied to.
And you got in.
I got in.
That was it.
Okay. But to actually visit there versus actually attending there, as we say, matriculating there, that's the doctor part.
Okay.
It was a different experience. And I always tell everybody, you hear us have camaraderie. I don't care where you're from. When you meet a rattler, you're like, what? Okay, I'm tired of y'all. Yeah. But it is because of the experience from the teachers that care to the actual custodians that care, that they instill greatness in you. Like it's not an excuse.
Okay.
So my experience doing those 4 years at Florida A&M really made me become a woman.
Okay.
Really prepared me for the workforce. Okay. Learning that I had to have pit bull tenacity. Always have your I's dotted, your T's crossed, and there is no excuse. And one of the most important lessons that I learned at FAMU was in like my freshman orientation when someone said, what's your name? And I said, Kentaya. And they said, why your parents name you that? And I was like, okay. It was like, so let me tell you, don't be offended, sweetheart. But because you have a
unique name,
African name, a Black name, when you do get an opportunity, you better be on it. When you go into a job, you go in there to take the job because there's many people that's going to pass you up just because your name. Okay. I was offended because I thought my name was beautiful and unique.
It's like, my name is cute. What are you talking
about? I'm named after Kunta Kinte, but I'm a girl, so it's Kentaya. You know, my parents were in that generation, but for you to tell me that
to your face
in front of the class, hurts my feelings. But it was a growing moment for me at that moment because she was true. Whenever you go into an interview, and Florida A&M taught me that, you need to have researched the company. You need to be prepared. You need to have great eye contact, a strong handshake, your shoulders up, your heads up, because you stand on the shoulders of so many people that sacrifice. That's what FAMU taught me.
Well, shout out to FAMU. I didn't go to a, HBCU. Okay, she's really gonna do the snake thing too. I didn't go to one, and there was always, I guess, a question: should I have? I got a scholarship, basketball scholarship, to a white school, and it was just like, dang. When I was there, you could tell that we were next to Morgan State. I had friends and fam over in Howard. Hampton was right there. So I was in Maryland. So I was like, man, we could always go to those schools to party, but not to be around them all the time. I really felt disconnected. And then you could see at the white school, you saw the Black kids really stuck together because it was like, look, it's only a couple of us. And so whenever we did have issues, it was like, yo, man, there's too little of us here if we having issues. So to go to a school where it's really you all the time, I feel like we were disserviced sometimes, but then it's like, okay, I am proud that I did go to a different school because maybe I have a different perspective. So it's always great to hear that perspective and hear how, the educators really kind of pushed you and really have honed you to who you are today. So shout out to all HBCUs. I don't know all y'all by name or number, or creed. Can I say something? He had to jump in.
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, well, first of all, my daughter is Miss FAMU 2011.
Hey.
Kendall Sunshine Johnson. Now, hey.
You have to drop that.
Got to drop that. Secondly, I have had 2 daughters to graduate from FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
The third daughter graduated from North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
And so the requirement in my household was that I don't care where you go, but you got to go to an HBCU.
Mm.
All right.
And so HBCUs do give our children the value that they need in themselves.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons that we did that is because my children grew up around whites.
Mm.
And so they needed to know who they were. And I can see you
Mhm.
not having that issue
No, I
growing up. Growing up, you knew who you were.
growing up was different experience. I was born in Nigeria, raised here, and that was a mess up for my brain because I was like, hold up, I'm used to always having us around,
Mhm.
us being business owners, homeowners, and everything, and then all of a sudden we ain't nothing. What you mean we're nothing? You know.
Wow.
But then I also lived in a Black community, and
Absolutely.
then saw the bad side, which we'll talk about with St. Pete. Certain sides are, bad. We have the gentrification and people leaving from the inner cities coming to a, suburban area and kind of messing up a little bit. And it was just like, hold up, we're here.
Mhm.
We got front and backyards, but supposedly we got gangs in the suburbs. What?
Mhm.
So it's just like sometimes it was a little crazy. So that's why, hey, when the scholarship came for the white school, I was like, yeah, man, I might need a break. You know what I'm saying? But then when I got there, it was just like, yeah, I'm really good on y'all. Like, I'm really good. And then it was like, man, I wish I had gone to a HBCU. But I'm glad that I didn't because I have different perspectives from the different places I've been and grew up. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like I will not push my kids if they want to go to college to HBCUs, but I would definitely be inclined to send them there for sure.
So here's what I always tell parents that are toggling between
Mhm.
do we go to a PWC or a historically Black college and
Mhm.
university. I say undergrad,
Mhm.
they should go to a HBCU.
Mhm.
If they decide to push forward, there's two reasons why I say go to a PWC after that.
Mhm.
One, they have the rest of their life
Mhm.
to be in a mixed environment.
Yes.
But there's so much growth that needs to happen between 17 and 21. So they need that
Ooh, child.
opportunity to get to know themselves and understand battles.
Mhm.
But also, when employers are looking to recruit and fulfill their minority quota,
Mhm.
they get a better chance at undergrad from an HBCU because they get to come there. Where if they were to go just across the tracks to Florida State,
Yeah.
they already have pretty much who they're looking for.
Yeah.
So they're going to save some slots for HBCUs.
Mhm.
Also, like FAM, they have a feeder program
Okay.
where they will help you pay for your master's,
Mhm.
your PhD, or your medical degree. So it benefits students not only from a growth perspective,
Mhm.
but also for opportunities post undergrad
Okay.
to go to a HBCU.
Okay. And a friend of mine, we graduated. He's gonna be on in a couple of weeks. He actually started the Black Academy, right? Black Math Academy, right? Because he's all about educating us and us being like prominent in mathematics. Okay. But he posted something yesterday that I saw. Basically, our college that we graduated from, they got like a grant from, I think it was the FBI or somebody, some federal agency, and it was like the question is like, why don't HBCUs have access to certain grants like that? Because it felt like it was a misnomer where it was like, yeah, we're gonna give it to this school.
Mhm.
But you would see that with HBCUs, they got to work so much harder to get some certain grants that PWIs just have access to just off the rip. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think could be a way to kind of, I guess, assist us in getting more access to certain things?
I think it also has to do with recruitment
Mm.
and your student body.
Mhm.
So now employers, grants, endowment, all of those funds are looking for what your graduates are doing. So FAMU School of Business had, even if you go to campus now at School of Business, you'll see a wall of corporations that actually employ from FAMU.
Mm.
So Dr. Frederick Humphreys was very good at that by going out and doing partnerships with Pfizer or Merrill Lynch,
Okay.
so that when we graduated, there was a pipeline.
Okay.
Now, the downfall that I've seen at a lot of HBCUs is that they don't have a strong enough network so that when their students graduate, they're actually making a reputation for their school when they go out. You will start to market those dollars and get those funds into your school when your graduates are showing the value of education that they had at your institution.
Okay. Because I do see, we're about to take our first break, actually. See how quickly this goes.
All right.
You're about to take our first break. But if you guys have any questions, you want to call in, want to engage with us, definitely call us. This is In Touch News, 813-444-9588. This is Goddess Talk. We'll be right back.
We'll be.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
Hi, this is Trina Johnson with Caldwell Banker Real Estate, the real estate agent you've been looking for. If you want top dollar for your home or you're looking to make a purchase, call me at 813-244-6953. Again, 813-244-6953, and let me list your home.
Hi, this is Dale Day. Join me every Monday at 7 p.m. for Jazz at Miss Connie's house, bringing you the smoothest jazz and the coolest guests right here on In Touch Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Goddess Talk. This is Balaji with my special guest, Dr. Kentaya Beeler. How you doing, Dr. Beeler?
I'm doing excellent. I like this, Sugar Plum.
I love her.
We are going to talk about some finances, but we're
going to get into that. Oh, no.
Y'all.
Each section is about a particular thing. Yes. We're going to get into your business, a.k.a. the Balanced Accounting Group, the bag, okay? It's the bag. And just your gems that you're going to drop for us as a people, what we can do to just further our further us as a people. So before we got off on the air for the last break, we were talking about HBCUs.
Yes.
And off the air I asked a question. Do you feel like, because right now there's a big celebration going on with just, the Greek life, right? And that's what everybody thinks HBCUs are all about, but it's like you can find Greeks, well, Black Greeks, let's say that, almost across the board on every campus for the most part. But what's the true image that HBCUs want to push? You know what I'm saying? It's not just the Greek life. There's more to it.
No, so I put that back on the school. Now, I'm going to take Florida A&M for their band because most individuals, when you hear about FAMU, whether it's Paris or in the United States, you know FAMU for their band, the Marching 100.
Okay.
But one of the things that is important that they instilled at FAMU, and this is why I put it back on the school, is that the school needs to do great marketing on what programs they offer. Okay. So in addition to having Greek life and understanding that, I think a part of that is that an African-American student or minority descent can come somewhere and they can have a full-rounded life, right? And that includes a Greek organization. And a part of that is you have some type of sisterhood or brotherhood when you leave here. So I think that's the popularity of it. But the schools are not doing a great job if that's the only thing that someone knows about your school. So FAMU, goes back to that school of business. Before I even started looking at other schools, and I said I like FAMU because of the camaraderie, but I also knew that my degree would be accredited. I also would have a pipeline of jobs. The return on my investment was very important. Florida A&M still to this day gives you a great value of an education for a minimal cost. Compared to other institutions, but the rating of their programs, whether you're talking about journalism, engineering, school of business, pharmacy, most PharmDs in this area went to FAMU. If you go into the pharmacy, you'll see a rattler tag, black or white. Law school as well in Orlando,
Okay.
black or white. You see, they have the highest level of graduates. So now the benefit and why marketing is important is that your student comes here, African American, they get to really hone on what they're good at and kind of look at what they're going to face. You have teachers that's teaching them about what they're going to face when they exit the university system, but they also have great job placement. And they're going to get a great job based on their degree because we've built that network.
Okay.
So if schools, HBCUs are not doing a great job and they're just talking about partying, that's back on the school.
Okay. And another thing I've seen that seems to trouble certain HBCUs is, you know, some people are saying, oh, we're going to get closed down because, you know, we're not getting enough donations and so forth. How can, again, I'm sure you're probably going to put it back on the school as far as, you know, marketing and everything. But sometimes it's the alumni. You graduate, you leave, and you're not trying to get back because you didn't feel maybe like you do as strongly that, you know, you got such a good return on your investment from FAMU. But some schools do, you know, some people graduate and they don't feel like they really invested much and got much. What do you say to that?
Well, I say to that, it's really about recruitment as well. So how do you treat the student when they enter? Okay. We are known for HBCUs to say that we have lackadaisical policies, but at the end of the day, even if your money was short, you had enough people in the cafeteria that make sure you ate. You understand what I'm saying? Even if your book money didn't come, you had enough instructors that will allow you to hold the book. So how do you treat the students once they get there and mom and dad are gone? That initial receptance really sets a tone to will the student give back as an alumni? You know, will they go out and recruit other students to return and come?
School,
Right. So it's a part of the staff as well. I'm not just going to say the school as a whole from the administration. It is down to the person that cleaned the hallways. Even the shower cleaners were good to us. You know, telling us as young ladies, don't walk around with your feet bare. If, you know, excuse me, man, if you're menstrual on, baby, don't walk around with your foot bare.
No, you appreciate that
Right.
because you have a familiarity with them now.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? That's home, you know, away from home. That's what it's supposed to feel like.
So
correct?
when you have kids, you're going to feel safe with sending your children there because you remember that experience that when mom and dad were gone and times got rough and you was eating oodles and noodles, Miss Jackie would bring in some collard greens and some yellow rice and say, baby, here you go. So I think we're talking about small things like that that give a long lasting impact. And I know for myself, I would take kids' applications and walk down the foothill and say, listen, the parents been calling on the phone, they can't get through. I need to put this application here. Here's the money. This is the money order. We need a receipt. It need to be doc stamped. I make a copy. And I've done that for several individuals because I knew past the bureaucracy, or if you want to say disorganization, the value of education that the student was going to get. So that's because I had a great experience, not without any type of trials and tribulations, but I still had an overall great experience.
And now I even see, like, you know, even after you leave, you still have such a camaraderie with fellow, you know, FAMU people, you know. So it's really a great experience to see other people's perspective on college life, because I swear my whole college experience was trash compared to y'all. So I'm good because we talked about our doctoral degree school that we went to mutually. It was so funny how we were at that one location. It was just talking, and I was talking about I was, you know, working on my doctorate. I was working on my doctorate. I was going to be a doctor of health administration. I had been 5 years in this program. 5 years. And we were just talking, and she's like, what school did you go to? I was like, what school did you go to? And we said the same name. It was like, damn.
And I was at 5 years and about to give up. So for everybody out there, let's just say this for a moment. Treat people that are in a higher education program, whether it's a master's, but definitely a PhD and a minority. You need to have compassion for them, because there are unspoken trials and tribulations that we go through. And if we make it, don't be jealous because somebody calling us doctor, because let me tell you, it was not easy. And when I met this sister and she said she was in year 5, I was like, you too?
But I had decided, because this is actually the funny thing, 9/22, which is just a couple of days ago, was two things. I dropped out of school last year because I was like, I'm done. Because I was going over 5 years now. I was like, I'm really still doing this. I have businesses, like I have multiple businesses that most people do know about. And I have a family, you know, not me personally, but my family. And I just had life. And I felt like I had been in school since 18, just going. Like, I was like, I've spent how many years in graduate
23.
schools? I was in my master's for 2 years and my doctorate for 5. I was like, I need a break.
My daughter, my middle girl, she used to tell me, Daddy, please just don't ask me about it.
Leave me alone.
That was it. Leave me alone. Now she finished. She got her doctorate from USF, but I realized that it's kind of like hazing.
Oh,
it's academic.
It's
That's
academic
a whole nother
hazing.
section. It is.
Yes.
So let me tell y'all, because I'm gonna have my soapbox right now because
Okay.
we brought it up. But imagine that you sign up for a program. It's like, oh, since you got your master's through us, you know, you don't have these amount of credits to do anymore because you already did it, right? So they tell you, oh, you only gonna do this for 3 years, okay? Because you got all these credits, and then after first year or so, oh, we done changed the program, so you have to actually start this and do this again. Okay, no worries, you know. Okay, cool. And then another year or so goes by. Oh, we gotta change the program again because of this and this and that. And y'all gotta start over. You done change the mentor. You done change the whole structure. You gotta write this one way. And now because you done changed it, we gotta start a whole writing process and start from the beginning again. Meaning like, oh, send it in for this and send it in. Who are you talking to? And I literally, when people ask me why I'm still an insomniac, I was like, imagine going to sleep at 5, 6 o'clock every single day for almost 7 years.
Sleeping.
What is sleep?
Sleeping with your books.
What?
You
You
fell
fell asleep all the daggone book in the laptop and got to go to work and still function.
And the money that is accumulating while you're going to school.
The interest I am now at least at $180,000 in debt for a degree that I don't have.
Are
Tell
you
them
going back?
Tell
No.
them about the medical implications, why you said no.
Okay, well, this is
People
the
don't
thing.
really know about that.
For me personally, I had a heart surgery when I was 18. So I used to play ball. I used to have a lot of stuff going on. So imagine just the stress, you know, that I was having huge breakouts. I was in the hospital like every 6 months, literally, from just college experience in itself was trash to me. So it was a lot of stuff like, well, I really didn't like college, but it was just like the amount of stress on my body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You just like, man, F this. Like, you know, you were just done. And it was just like, for the professor or whoever to come at you with some stuff, it's like, who the hell are you talking to? Like, so going to you because you are a professor and you do online as a professor as well, right? And
hybrid. I do hybrid, face-to-face and online.
Okay, so now let's look at our experience. We both went to the school where we were doing it online. How do you better teach now because of your experience? Because I feel like now you see from the other side is like, oh, maybe that's why they did it like this, but it's like, man, they could have did this better for us as the students. How do you go about it now with your side of things?
So I had a different experience. Before I joined my PhD program, I had already been a professor since 2007.
Okay.
So my perspective was what you're taking me through is alternative motives.
Yeah.
Because I've already been a professor since 2007, and I joined my program in 2010. I did not finish to 2016, so I did 6 years. So I knew that it was a way for them to prolong to make more money. Number two, to really, I say, shake the bush.
Yeah.
Find out who was strong enough. It was never about your intellect.
You didn't need that much, actually.
It was about your tenacity to deal with criticism and really. So you thought your best was good enough. Well, you don't even know what the definition of best is.
What?
And for a PhD, they're asking you to create something in a body of knowledge that hasn't been proved before, but find some relatable sources to prove that it will work based on theory in the future. That's the whole point of a PhD, doctorate in philosophy. So it's that challenge. And actually, when you do your dissertation, you're not really getting credit for it. It is your committee and mentors that are taking credit for that body of work. So if they are not an expertise in it, like my dissertation was qualitative, but I come from an accounting background. So everybody on my committee was quantitative. And I said, no, I want to go out and study lived experiences. So that is qualitative.
Yeah.
And that was the fight, because now you're asking tenured individuals to go back and relearn a methodology that they were not familiar with. And so they wanted you to create and do work, and they get credit for it.
And the whole qualitative versus quantitative, and this is why I tell people, depending on what degree you're doing, you really will decide, like, yeah, you could have, and that was the thing. The fight for us was they wanted more quantitative. So I was like, this is not quantitative because we're dealing with people.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? You could have some research numbers, but you can't always have the quantitative numbers for this particular situation. And just the fight between it. And it was just like, oh, and then certain professors didn't realize what the rules and regulations were for the paperwork, right? Oh, Balaji, you have to write XYZ. And it's like, oh yeah, look at this form. But the form you're directing me to doesn't say this. And I'll keep sending it to him. He's like, we're talking about almost 3 semesters in. Oh, I didn't realize that was that form. You wasted 3 semesters fighting with me about a form that doesn't exist to you. We're about to be back with Goddess Talk, y'all, but it was stressful. Call us 813-444-9588.
Break.
Hi, I'm Donald L. Dowers Jr., your motivational guru. This is the DLD Motivational Moment. One darn second. America, since 2017, is suffering from a serious hiccup. 9/11 is seriously overused in a distasteful manner. Every day, the cops are calling on an innocent person of color. It amazes me that America has come down to this. A person of color becomes a person of interest. Waffle House, the dorm, Starbucks is a few. This is not the lunch counters, sit-ins of the 1960s. 2019, harassed simply for being black and proud. Hold on one darn second. This has been the DLD Motivational Moment. Pre-order my new book, Motivational Moments, at DLD282002 at yahoo.com or 813-394-5875. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer. I got the men to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe me. 100-243-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen and sundown. 1-800-361-RIG. That's 1-800-361-425. Never would've from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy stay fine. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 1-800-361-RIG. Call Ricky, ask Ricky, the legal and medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims. Giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Now 1-844-361-RIG. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey y'all, this is Goddess Talk. We are back. We just had a moment the last segment, but we're gonna come back to you, okay? Because you do have your company called the Balance Accounting Group.
Yes.
The Bag, okay?
The Bag.
Tell us how you maneuvered from, just from coming from St. Pete. You know what I'm saying? You grew up there, you saw different things, and then getting to entrepreneurship, because a lot of people may not have been really inclined to do so. Like, whatever, it's whatever. Like, I went to school, I got what I needed. I could have worked a regular job and kept it moving. But you decided to go towards entrepreneurship. Why?
Okay. So although I'm from St. Pete and I'm from the hood.
Yeah.
9th Street, 13th Avenue.
Let 'em know.
Okay. Ike's. All right. So anybody that's on here that know anything about St. Pete, you already know that when you say 9th Street and 13th Avenue, Ike's, what it is in that neighborhood. Okay. So one, I'm gonna say that although I was from St. Petersburg and I grew up in the hood in a single parent home, my mother made our home conducive of what she wanted me to be.
Good job. I'm glad you said that part, because a lot of people say, well, they use that almost not as a crutch or an excuse, but it's like, well, that's why I don't do X, Y, Z. Your mom said,
right.
Let's go.
So I'm just going to even take it back to up until 7th grade. I went back to my daycare every morning to go to school. Like, it was no staying in the house. And then when I was allowed, so I would go back to my daycare, and then somebody from the daycare would take me to elementary school and middle school, and I would come back after school until she got off of work, and she would pick me up.
So you felt there was a community around you. Do you feel that?
Yes.
Okay.
So even though my mother was a single mother, she made sure that she kept me safe. That she put me in an environment where somebody could do homework with me, and just familiar people from pre-K.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until like 7th or 8th grade that I actually was able to walk to school. And then that was basically because other family members said, now, okay, you're sheltering her, so you need to expose her. But on the weekends, I would go to my grandparents' house most of the time, which is in Crystal River, Florida. So if anybody know anything about Citrus County, okay, my grandparents lived in Citrus County.
So I don't know nothing about Citrus County.
It's real small, dear. At that point, it had about 2 lights.
Okay.
Okay. And my mother grew up on a farm. Okay. So they had cows, bulls, chickens. Our cousin had hogs, all that kind of
you
stuff.
Grew up with that. Okay.
Right. So although I was in St. Pete, I went for the weekends most of the time to my grandparents' house. And it was very rare for us to buy food from the store because my grandmother had her own crops where it was okra and things like that. And my grandfather had bulls and cows.
Okay.
So when we talk about entrepreneurship, people from town, because in Crystal River, my grandparents lived in the bush, the country, they would buy, field peas, okra, things like that from my grandparents.
Okay.
When we wanted beef or chicken, my granddaddy would send a cow to the slaughter and we would put in our food orders. And some people would still buy from that. So growing up, I already knew about entrepreneurship. My grandfather, Mr. O.H. Hopkins, his friend was Mr. Dixie Hollins. So if people in St. Pete would know Dixie Hollins High School, but Mr. Dixie Hollins and my grandfather, although they was from 2 different nationalities, he respected my grandfather for his business side. So my grandfather, after he came back from the war, he and his brother were the first Black men to own a gas station in Citrus County.
Okay.
So that was already instilled. And my granddaddy used that gas station money to buy livestock because it was a tax break. So when we get to talking about taxes, we'll talk about what my grandfather did. He also had gentlemen work for him. So my grandmother did the books. Even though with a 7th grade education, she did the book. She wrote
what came in and what left out.
Yes, she wrote those checks for those men that worked for my grandfather. The new US 19 was cleared by my grandfather up in Citrus County. Even for Citrus County Memorial Hospital, my granddaddy cleared that too. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, that was already instilled.
That's in your blood.
It's in my blood. And I remember my first piece of working was my grandfather had a food truck. And he brought a barbecue truck down here to St. Pete from Crystal River, and he and one of my other aunts owned it. And I was the cashier in the front because I like numbers. So there was also an Axe on 34th Street South, and we would be out there on Friday and Saturday nights. That was the only time I was able to hang out, and I was the cashier. So even in high school, I didn't have to go work for anyone because my grandfather put me to work in the food truck before food trucks were popular. So we're talking about never having to buy food like meat and poultry from the grocery store. Milk coming. I knew how to milk a cow and feed a calf. And in addition to that, we knew about field peas and eating healthy food. So what they're talking about organic, we were living that already.
Had it.
But I had a mix of city life with coming to St. Petersburg. So all of that, unbeknownst to me at that time, told me that I had enough skill set inside me, and I was already good enough that we could always eat.
You could always, not just you could always eat, you could always survive.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's wonderful to know. So tell us about the BAG, the Balanced Accounting Group. What is that? What services do you provide?
Okay, so the Balanced Accounting Group, first of all, you can visit www.balanced, BALANCED, accounting, ACCOUNTING group, GROUP.com. There you will see a history of our business, how long we've been in. We've gone through rebranding. So first it used to be KB Financial Services. And then I realized that in our community, there is a lack of balance. Some things we have to unlearn. That was one of the key things. So at Florida A&M, I started preparing taxes for students who needed it for their financial aid. So a lot of parents realized they made too much. Their students got a job, and then they had no knowledge about how to file taxes. We're a part of the School of Business. We did volunteer taxes at the community center in Tallahassee. And so I said, listen, if you don't come down, you can always come to the dorm, and I will do it by hand, because by then the post office used to have tax forms for you. So that was KB Financial Services, Kintea Beeler Financial Services.
And that was, how old were you?
I was, I think, 19
at
that time.
You was making money in the dorms.
Yes, in the dorms. So then I realized that students would go back and tell their parents. And their parents like, well, how you know this about taxes? So then for those students who were dependents on their parents, I would start doing those taxes. And so over time, we're talking about maybe 1997. So over time, I've learned to, develop it based on the need. So the Balanced Accounting Group does auditing. So for organizations that need a compliance check to come in and look to make sure your records are accurate, we do that. We do taxation. And I do more tax advocacy now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And we do a lot of corporate taxes. We do financial planning. I have a lot of clients that say, I just can't get it together. Like, I don't understand why I make so much money, but then when I look, the money is gone. So I do a lot of checking. It's more of hand holding you on a monthly plan, and then we'll develop a budget based on that, kind of look at some things that you may need to change, because how can I save if I don't even know the concept of what I'm spending? Okay. And then the other part is, bookkeeping. So for small businesses that cannot afford a large accounting firm, we do QuickBooks. Either we can train you on QuickBooks, because I do not believe in you feeing yourself out of business at the beginning. So maybe you just need to come in and learn some basic things about QuickBooks. Or if that's not your thing, we can put you on a plan to do your bookkeeping for you. So we have a variety of services. And then if it's something that I cannot do, when you go to the Balanced Accounting Group website, you'll see affiliates or individuals that we partner with. So we do have an investment person. I do not focus on investments. I help you develop a plan to save money so that you can invest. So you move them from your part to, if you need to, we could send you to somebody else. Yes. And then that other person, right now, her name is Tia Pettigrew. She will come to me and say, okay, this person wants to open a Roth. And what are their finances looking like? How much can they put in? Because the other thing is, you don't want a person to pour so much into their investments and then they have no savings, and then they get a penalty for withdrawing money because they did not budget how much they can actually spend. So that's all that tax exemptions and all the things you know what's going on that side. Yes. And sometimes the people that I partner with will come back to me and say, I specialize in real estate or I specialize in investments. I don't specialize in accounting. So tell me, if they take a withdrawal from their 401k plan, will they get a penalty? Well, is this their first home purchase? So we do a lot of partnering like that too. So that's why it's called Balanced Accounting Group. And the acronym, the BAG, means that you can't afford to pull anything out your bag if you haven't gotten your finances together. So stay out of Macy's, Dillard's, shopping online, Amazon. When you know that you don't have enough money saved up to pay your bills for 6 months.
So say that again. What's the slogan? I like that. You can't afford to go into your bag.
You can't afford to go into your bag if you don't have your finances together.
So for us as a people, you know what? Let's take this last break. This is our last break coming up, right? But when we come back, I want to talk about how the bag and just your business model and everything can help us as a people, because that's what everything kind of refers back to. So if you guys want to call in with any questions, call in to speak to Dr. Kentea, 813-444-9588. This is Goddess Talk on In Touch News. We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
My name is Gil Sampson. I didn't come from a very rich family, and so paying for college would have been very tough. I don't know if I would have been able to go to the college that I went to, and then I don't know if I would have gotten into the career that I am in. So I think Bright Futures has done a lot to shape my life. I got a job as a structural engineer, and I design residential buildings, commercial buildings all over the United States. Because of Bright Futures, I was able to go to college. You know, so many kids just don't even ever get that opportunity, and to be able to do it and not have any debt when I graduated is amazing. And it was all thanks to Bright Futures.
Florida has created more than 1 million jobs in only 5 years, and a great education connects our students to these exciting opportunities. That's why the Florida Lottery has funded Bright Futures scholarships to help over 725,000 students attend college. Because every play is for education. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Hi, this is Trina Johnson with Caldwell Banker Real Estate, the real estate agent you've been looking for. If you want top dollar for your home or you're looking to make a purchase, call me at 813-244-6953. Again, 813-244-6953, and let me list your home.
Welcome back. This is Goddess Talk with our special guest, Dr. Kentea Beeler of the Balanced Accounting Group. All right. I told her we're gonna be kiki. Okay, we do got a caller. All right, who's this?
Hi, this is Aziza. Hi, Faraji.
Hi, Aziza. What's going on?
Hi, Dr. Beeler. I was just calling in about your tax services. I have just a specific question that I hope you can answer. Just wondering how would you be able to do like taxes remotely with your services? Because I've actually never had an accountant on my side, and I've usually do my taxes on my own. So I just wanted to know how would I have to come into your office versus doing it maybe over the phone or email?
Okay, no. So we have a cloud-based system. So when you go to Balanced Accounting Group, on the top right, it says Client Portal. On the Client Portal, you will request access. We will go through authentication, right? And we will give you access. There, you create an account. You upload your documents. We'll download them, and then I'll give you a price quote on doing your taxes. Once we come to an agreement with the price, then we will move forward. You monitor that. So after we finish the taxes, we will ask you, do you want it mailed to you or do you want to upload it in your portal account? And then from there, you will always have access. So if you go to apply for a mortgage or the bank needs it, you don't have to continue to call me. You can go right into your portal account and download your tax return.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Any other questions?
Of course.
No, she's done. All right. Thanks, Aziza. I said if you had any other questions.
Oh, no. I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling into Goddess Talk on In Touch News. We hope you call back another time.
Yes.
All right. So let's take the last couple minutes to talk about just us as a people, why should we become? It sounds like a stupid question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Why should we become more financially knowledgeable as a people?
Okay, so I want to touch on a couple of things here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll try to make this as simple as possible.
Okay.
So, one of the things is I talked about before about unlearning, having unlearned behavior. So we have to remember that we came to this country with nothing because we were forced to come here. And some individuals have a mindset that, hey, I came from nothing, so I'm used to not having anything. Okay. That is not where we begin. We didn't begin as slaves. We began as kings and queens.
We ran everything.
So we have the resources around us, but the requirement is that we come together. Okay. That is the main issue in our community, that we don't have a lot, but we have the resources to have a lot. We should have a mindset of coming together and not competing against each other. Now, why is that important? So on Tuesday, we had a Living Will seminar in St. Petersburg.
Yes.
And one of the things that Empath Health talked about, Mr. L.A. Keys, was that we have a hard time talking about needful conversations. A living will is just simply discussing what your needs are and who would take care of those needs upon getting sick. If we have a hard time talking about those type of things, then we have a hard time talking about real life. Okay. So I find that we really need to sit down and be real with ourselves, because the other counterparts that we live amongst in this life and in this world, especially in the United States, they have enough resources and they pull together and they're able to push forward because they know their resources. And so if we're going to really live our best life, as we say, it's not wearing somebody else's brand name. It's about having our finances together so that when we're talking about death, it's not uncomfortable to us. It's not, I don't want to talk about who's going to pay for it. It's, oh, we already have that together.
Not just that, like a lot of people, our counterparts, have this stuff handled as soon as a child is born. They already have a policy for the child already.
And a plot.
Yeah, they have the plot, they have the policy. They've already written their will before the child even got here. You know, if I should have children, this is what it's going to be. I already had this stuff written out a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years into my company.
Right.
Because it's written in my bylaws and everything. Like, it's a situation that we all really have to have those conversations. And like you said, a lot of us are very uncomfortable. And you know what? But we need to be uncomfortable, because that comfort that we just, you know, that we're just so used to just being there, you know, like, you know, we'll have a fish fry or a GoFundMe. Do not have a GoFundMe for me, please. Okay.
Yes.
Don't do that.
So I think that's one of the major issues why we need to have our money together, because when we make impulsive purchases at brand names, we don't feel uncomfortable about that. But when we're talking about our savings, what we're leaving to our families, who's being left what, who's going to carry out financial matters, that's uncomfortable. So that's an issue for me, and why I also have a nonprofit organization called Tables of Purpose. And our main mission is to foster needful conversations in the community. Now, the other part about that is that God has provided me the opportunity to live overseas in Dubai. And I have seen a complete contrast as to what money can buy you. Okay? Because one, their government takes care of them. Okay? So the way they treat money is not how we treat it in this in the United States. Even though we're supposed to be the land of opportunity. When you have enough money, you're able to make decisions because money is not an object. So now, when are we going to get to that point that we're not looking for handouts and we're doing the needful so we have enough money to feel comfortable? And then if you want to splurge on an item, it's not a sacrifice. Because living in Dubai, you're able to see their sacrifice is what time frame they're going to spend at a store, not money that's spent at the store. Okay.
Not how much, but what it goes towards.
Right. Okay. And what I feel like spending. So now that tells me that money is really not the root of all evil. It is our mindset that's the root of all evil. You know, and we have to get to a place where we have real conversations and we have to go back living with one another until we get on our feet. Other minority groups come here in America and they don't mind sharing the space. We used to share space with one another.
You kick your kids out at 18 now these days
to get into debt, or like we did with education. We're looking for titles or an avenue to make more money, not realizing that we're getting ourselves in debt. So what would happen if our parents now saved up enough money that when their students go to school, they don't really have to take a loan, so that when they start out, they're not starting out in debt. You understand what I'm saying? But when you have parents that are giving monetary items, shoes and clothes and purses and hair weaves and nails for an image, but when it's time for them to move into adulthood, all they know about is practice of debt. So I think that is really our issue, and why the Balanced Accounting Group is so important. About, let's really look at, what are you spending? I make individuals come in and bring their bank statement. Bring me your bank statement and let's talk about your behavior. Why are you spending so much money at Chick-fil-A? Nothing wrong with Chick-fil-A, but what if you went and bought a pack of chicken and cut it up and maybe some Hawaiian rolls and made your own chicken sandwiches instead of spending $8 and $9 per person? You know, yes, you're busy, but is that the healthiest? We don't know what these fast food restaurants are putting in the food, but you're spending more than that on medication that is, you know,
detrimental to you, even worse.
Yes, and you're spending more money on that. Whereas our ancestors, we ate, like I said, my grandmother, she grew her food and we didn't have all these ailments. So really we're doing ourselves a disservice by not even monitoring our food purchases, what we spend on clothing and shoes and even cars. You know, in accounting, as a professor, I teach that assets that depreciate are not really beneficial to you. So why is it that we're trying to buy a new car, we're leasing cars, and they're not even worth what we're paying, you know?
Whew, child. So how can people reach you? Drop the Balanced Accounting Group's info one more time, because we're supposed to be getting off the air in a second.
Okay. Yeah. So 1-800-794-0677 is the phone number. Our email is info@balancedaccountinggroup.com, and our website is www.balancedaccountinggroup.com.
All right. So Dr. Kentea Beeler really gave us the tea and everything else. And I think you dropped some gems.
Okay.
And, you know, and of course, shout out to FAMU again. Shout out to St. Pete. Shout out to all, you know, all the business owners and just people who were inspired. Shout out to the educators, because that was something I really took out of your interview today. But thank you so much for being on Goddess Talk. So we'll be back next week, Thursday, at 7 p.m. And we have a special guest next week who owns a spa and all this stuff going on. So shout out to you again. Shout out to
thank you for having me.
Tune in next week at 7 p.m. Goddess Talk will be on In Touch News. You have a great night.